Get ready, everyone, because this story will take you on an exciting adventure. Let the story begin.
Hello, my dear subscribers. Today we're going to learn about a story of two poor brothers who created a billion-dollar company, which is known all over the world, but then they argued and became the worst enemies ever. Adidas and Puma are famous sports brands all over the world, but did you know they started in a small town in Germany? This is a story about two brothers, Adolf and Rudolf Dassler. People called Adolf Adi and Rudolf Rudy. They began together, but then they became rivals. Adi and Rudy started a shoe company. They were very successful, but something went wrong. The brothers had a big fight. It was a very bad argument. After the fight, they split their company in two. Adi started his own company, Adidas. Rudy started his company, Puma. These two companies became big rivals. They tried to be better than each other in every way. Their fight was not just about business. It was personal. This book tells the story of Adidas and Puma. It is a story of family, business, and rivalry. We will see how two brothers living in the same town created two of the biggest sports brands in the world. But their fight also caused problems and even divided their town. Get ready to learn about betrayal, secrets, and a competition that changed everything. 2. Early beginnings. Herzogenaurach is a small town in Germany. Many people there made shoes. In this town, two brothers, Rudolf and Adolf Dassler, were born. Rudolf, or Rudy, was born in 1898. Adolf, who everyone called Adi, was born 2 years later. Life was not easy for the Dassler family. They were poor. Their father worked in a shoe factory, but he did not earn much money. To help the family, their mother washed clothes for other people. Rudy and Adi helped her. They were known as the laundry boys because they delivered the clean clothes around the town. From a young age, Adi loved sports. He also liked making things. He wanted to be a shoemaker like his father. But after the First World War, things were very bad in Germany. The war had damaged the economy. Adi's mother's laundry business lost all its customers. The family needed to find a new way to earn money. Adi had an idea. He knew that athletes needed good shoes. At that time, there were not special shoes for different sports. Adi thought about making shoes especially for running. He believed that special shoes could help athletes run faster. He started making shoes in his mother's old laundry room. He did not have money to buy new materials. There was also no electricity because of the war. But Adi was clever. He found old things to use. He used leather from old army helmets and strings from parachutes. He used anything he could find to make shoes. To make up for no electricity, Adi used a bicycle wheel to power his tools. He asked a friend to pedal the bicycle so he could use a leather cutting machine. Slowly, using old materials and his own ideas, Adi made shoes. These shoes were strong and people in the town liked them. Adi was very careful about every detail of his shoes. He tried different materials and designs. Adi's shoes became popular. His brother Rudy saw that Adi's business could grow. Rudy was working somewhere else, but he decided to join Adi. Rudy was good at talking to people and selling things. Adi was good at making shoes. It seemed like they could work well together. In 1924, they started a company together. They called it Dassler Brothers Sport Shoe Factory. Nobody knew then that this small factory would become very famous. And nobody knew that the two brothers would later become big rivals. 3. Rising with the Reich. The Dassler brothers' shoe factory started to do very well. Rudy was good at selling shoes. He went to many sports clubs in Germany. More and more people bought their shoes. They moved to a bigger factory. They could make more shoes and better shoes. They also started to make football boots. Football was becoming very popular. Rudy gave free shoes to football teams. He knew they would like the quality and buy more. Business was good. Adi was always making the shoes better. Rudy was selling them. Then Hitler and the Nazi Party became powerful in Germany. Things changed a lot. The Nazis liked sports. They thought sports made people strong and proud of Germany. They also thought it prepared people for war. Because of this, more people wanted sports shoes. The Dassler brothers' factory could make a lot of money. Adi and Rudy joined the Nazi Party. Some people say it was necessary to join if you wanted to have a business in Germany at that time. But it seems they also supported Hitler. Rudy talked a lot about his support for the Nazis. Adi was less open, but he was involved in the Hitler Youth, a Nazi group for young people. The Nazi government helped their shoe business a lot. The biggest chance for their business came in 1936. Germany hosted the Olympic Games in Berlin. It was the first Olympics on television. Adi and Rudy knew this was a great way to advertise their shoes. If Olympic athletes wore their shoes, everyone would see them. They wanted one athlete especially to wear their shoes, Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens was a black athlete from America. He was very famous. But sponsoring Jesse Owens was risky. Hitler wanted to show the world that German people were the best. He thought white people were better than black people. If a black athlete won, it would go against what Hitler wanted. Supporting Jesse Owens could be dangerous for the Dassler brothers. But Adi wanted to do it. He went to see Jesse Owens in the Olympic Village. He showed Jesse his special running shoes. Jesse liked them and agreed to wear them. In those days, athletes were happy to get good shoes for free. They did not get extra money to wear them. Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals at the Berlin Olympics wearing Dassler shoes. Hitler was very angry. Jesse Owens winning went against his ideas. But for the Dassler brothers, it was amazing publicity. The best athlete in the Olympics wore their shoes. After the Olympics, they got orders from all over the world. Their company looked very successful. But behind the scenes, problems were starting between Adi and Rudy. The Olympics' success was the beginning of the end for them working together. 4. Brothers divided. After the big success of the Olympics, the Dassler brothers' factory was very busy. But Adi and Rudy started to have problems. They did not agree on how to run the business. The stress made things worse between them. Rudy felt that he was important because he sold the shoes. Adi thought that he was more important because he made the shoes. They argued more and more. Then World War II started. The factory had to make boots for soldiers and even weapons. Adi was in charge of this because he knew how to make things. Rudy felt left out. He thought Adi wanted to take over the business. Rudy became suspicious of Adi. The brothers lived in the same house with their families. This made the situation even worse. They were always together and argued all the time. One night, bombs fell on Germany. Adi and his wife went to the basement for safety. Rudy and his wife were already there. Adi said, "The bastards are back again." Adi said he meant the planes dropping bombs. But Rudy thought Adi was talking about him and his wife. Rudy was very angry. After this night, the brothers could not stand each other anymore. Soon after, Rudy had to go to the army. Adi stayed at the factory to work. Rudy thought Adi wanted to take the company for himself. Rudy wrote a letter saying Adi was not good to lead the company. He wanted his wife to represent him while he was in the army, but Adi said no. The hate between them grew very strong. Rudy told the Nazi police that Adi was hiding leather. Leather was needed for the war. Because of this, Adi was arrested and questioned for a short time. After the war, things got even worse. The Americans wanted to find out if people had done bad things during the war. Rudy was put in prison because people thought he was very involved with the Nazi Party. He was in prison for a year. Rudy was angry that Adi did not help him get out of prison. Later, people said that the Americans arrested Rudy because someone told them to. Rudy believed it was Adi who told on him to get rid of him. When Rudy was free, Adi was also in trouble. People thought Adi made too much money during the war. Rudy spoke against Adi at his trial. Adi said he did nothing wrong. In the end, both brothers were free. But they were no longer brothers. They were enemies. Some people even said that Rudy had a relationship with Adi's wife. It is hard to know what is true, but it is clear that after all the fights and betrayals, Adi and Rudy could not work together. In 1948, after many angry talks, Rudy and Adi decided to split the company. They divided everything. They started two new companies, Adidas and Puma. Both brothers were full of anger and wanted to destroy the other's company. 5. Adidas and Puma are born. After many arguments and problems, the Dassler brothers, Adi and Rudy, decided to end their company together. In 1948, they divided everything they owned. It was a difficult time, but two new companies were starting. Adi Dassler used his own nickname, Adi, and the first part of his last name, Dassler, to create a new name, Adidas. People say it in different ways, like Adidas or Adidas. Rudy wanted to name his company after himself too. He first called it Ruda, but he didn't like it much. After a few weeks, he changed the name to Puma. He thought Puma sounded strong and fast, like a sports person. Some say Puma, and others say Puma. When the company split, all the people who worked there had to choose if they wanted to work for Adidas or Puma. Most of the people who knew how to make shoes, the technical people, went to work for Adi at Adidas. Most of the people who were good at selling, the salespeople, went to work for Rudy at Puma. This split had a big effect on the town where they lived, Herzogenaurach. The town was small, and now it was divided in two. Adidas was on one side of the river, and Puma was on the other. It was like the town itself was split between the brothers. People in the town started to support either Adidas or Puma. It became a big part of life in Herzogenaurach. There were different schools for children depending on if their parents worked for Adidas or Puma. People from one side of town did not often date people from the other side. Some groups even formed based on if they liked Adidas or Puma shoes. It was strange. People even looked down at the shoes someone was wearing to decide if they should talk to them. Because of this, the town became known as the Town of Bent Necks. At first, Adidas and Puma shoes looked quite similar. But Eddie wanted to make Adidas shoes different. He had used 3 stripes on the side of shoes to make them stronger. In 1949, he started to make these stripes white. This made Adidas shoes easy to see and different from other shoes. People liked this new look. Not that Adidas and Puma were separate. Both Adi and Rudy wanted their company to be the best sports shoe company in Germany. They were starting a race to be number 1. 6. The World Cup War. After Adidas and Puma were born, the fight between the brothers, Adi and Rudy Dassler, became a real war. It wasn't a war with guns, but a war in business. Both brothers wanted their company to be the best and most famous sports shoe brand in Germany, and then in the world. They fought for everything: for shops to sell their shoes, for athletes to wear their shoes, and for people to choose their brand. One of the biggest battles was around the 1954 World Cup. This was a very important event for Germany after the war. Rudi from Puma knew the coach of the German national football team. He tried to make a deal to have the team wear Puma boots in the World Cup. However, they couldn't agree on the money. The coach thought Puma was asking for too much. Then, the coach talked to Adi from Adidas, and they made a deal. The German team would wear Adidas shoes during the World Cup. This was a big win for Adidas, even before the game started. At the beginning of the World Cup, the German team didn't play very well. Many people didn't think they had a chance to win. But surprisingly, they kept winning and reached the final game. In the final, they had to play against Hungary. Hungary was a very strong team, and they had not lost a game in 4 years. Everyone thought Hungary would win easily. But on the day of the final, it rained. This rain became very important for Adidas. Adi Dassler was always trying to make better shoes. For this World Cup, he had invented new football boots with adjustable cleats. These cleats were like small studs on the bottom of the shoes that could be changed depending on the ground. When the grass was wet, these cleats gave the German players much better grip. In the final game, Germany started badly. Hungary scored 2 goals very quickly. It looked like Germany would lose. But as the game continued, the rain made the pitch very muddy. The Hungarian players started to slip and slide on the wet grass. But the German players, wearing their Adidas shoes with adjustable cleats, could run and move much better. They started to play better and better. Germany scored 1 goal, then another goal to make it equal. And then, in the last minutes of the game, Germany scored again and won the World Cup. It was an unbelievable victory. People in Germany called it the Miracle of Bern, after the city where the final was played. This victory was a huge success for Adidas. People saw that the German team won the World Cup wearing Adidas shoes. It was like magic for the brand. Suddenly, everyone wanted to buy Adidas shoes. Shops could not get enough Adidas products. For Puma and Rudi, this was a terrible blow. Adidas became much more famous and successful because of the World Cup. Rudi felt like he had lost a very important battle in the World Cup war. The rivalry between Adidas and Puma didn't end with the World Cup. It continued and even got worse. There were always rumors and stories of unfair play and sabotage. One famous story is from the Olympic Games in Melbourne, Australia, a few years later. Puma sent a shipment of shoes for the athletes to wear at the Olympics. But mysteriously, the Puma shoes were stopped by the customs officers. When they arrived in Australia, they were not allowed into the country. At the same time, the shipment of Adidas shoes arrived without any problems. Many people believed that Adidas had somehow influenced the customs officers to stop Puma's shoes. Rudi was furious and felt that Adidas was playing dirty tricks to win. This World Cup war between Adidas and Puma was far from over. 7. Sons and sneaky deals. The sons of Adi and Rudi Dassler started to work in their father's companies. Horst Dassler, Adi's son, joined Adidas. Armin Dassler, Rudi's son, joined Puma. They were from a new generation. But the rivalry between Adidas and Puma did not stop. It actually got worse. Both companies wanted to be the best. They started to compete to sponsor famous athletes. They wanted famous sports stars to wear their shoes and clothes. This became very expensive. Adidas and Puma spent a lot of money trying to get the best athletes. Sometimes, they offered more and more money just to beat the other company. This was not good for their businesses because it reduced their profits. Before the 1970 World Cup in Mexico, something sneaky happened. Both Horst from Adidas and Armin from Puma knew they were spending too much on sponsorships. They made a secret agreement. There was one football player everyone wanted, Pelé. He was the most famous player in the world. Adidas and Puma agreed that neither company would try to sign Pelé. They decided Pelé should be off-limits to both of them. This way, they could save money and avoid a bidding war. But Puma did not keep the agreement. Armin Dassler made a sneaky deal with Pelé in secret. Adidas was very surprised and angry when the World Cup started. In the quarterfinal game, everyone saw Pelé wearing Puma shoes. Before the game started, Pelé did something very clever. He asked the referee to stop for a moment. Then, in front of all the cameras, Pelé knelt down and tied his shoelaces. He made sure everyone could see his Puma shoes clearly. This was a brilliant marketing trick by Puma. Millions of people watching television around the world saw Pelé and his Puma shoes. It was a fantastic advertisement for Puma, and Adidas knew they had been tricked. Pelé helped Brazil win the World Cup. After that, Puma shoes became even more popular all over the world. Horst from Adidas was very angry at Armin for breaking their agreement. The rivalry between the families became even more intense. Meanwhile, Adi and Rudi Dassler were getting old. They were in their 70s and still had not spoken to each other for many years. They were still enemies. Rudi became very ill with lung cancer. Even when Rudi was dying, Adi did not want to see him. When Rudi died, Adi did not go to his funeral. Adi himself died a few years later. Both brothers are buried in the same town where they started their shoe businesses. But even in death, they are separated. Their graves are at opposite ends of the town cemetery. They never made peace with each other. 8. New owners. New game. After Adi and Rudi died, their sons, Horst and Armin, took over Adidas and Puma. But things changed. Horst and Armin were not like their fathers. They tried to compete in the same way, spending lots of money on big sports stars. Adidas and Puma started to have problems. They spent too much money and did not focus on making good products for normal people. By the 1980s, both companies were in trouble. They almost went bankrupt. In the end, both Adidas and Puma were sold to new owners. The new owners were business people who wanted to make money. At this time, another sports company became very popular, Nike. Nike became the biggest sports brand in the world. Adidas and Puma were behind. But Adidas and Puma did not disappear. New people came in to run the companies. At Adidas, Robert Louis Dreyfus became the boss. He changed Adidas. He made new, modern shoes and worked with famous athletes like David Beckham. Adidas became popular again. At Puma, Jochen Zeitz became the boss. He also made changes. Puma became known for being different and fashionable. They worked with designers and singers like Rihanna. Puma also became popular again, especially with young people. In 2009, something special happened. The people from Adidas and Puma played a football match together. It was a friendly game in the town where Adidas and Puma started. It was a symbol that the fight between the two companies was over. Today, Adidas and Puma are still big companies. They are not owned by the Dassler family anymore. But the story of the two brothers and their fight is still remembered. People still wonder, what if Adi and Rudy had stayed friends? Maybe Adidas and Puma would be even bigger today.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the story. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a new story. Have a wonderful day. Take care, and see you next time.